Welcome to Community Insight. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Rodney Coles. Community Insight broadcast is bringing information to our community, giving them information that they can share with others. And we always have special guests on this broadcast and also special hosts hosting it so we continue getting the message through. Today, I have a friend, a Christian brother of mine, Sid. He's with me today, and we're here to talk about an event that's taking place at Jarvis Church. And so what I'm going to do is turn it over to him. Sid, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, Pastor Coles. It's good to be here. I'm excited to talk about the Global Leadership Summit this morning. Global Leadership Summit is an annual event that is held in a church in Chicago called Willow Creek Community Church. It started years ago, and I've been a part of this event for probably 13 years now, I think. It's an annual leadership development summit. They call it a summit, so some will call it a summit too. Annually, it's a 2-day event, and we've hosted it at Jarvistown. This will be our third year hosting it at Jarvis Church. Jarvis is partnering with a local business called Practicon, that is a dental supply company here in town who believe in leadership development, and so they've partnered together to provide this resource. This is an international conference, and it is simulcast at sites all over the country, and so Jarvis Church happens to be our local site, and we are excited to host it once again and see exactly what all this thing contains this year.
Yeah, and Sid, I have to tell you, thank you for 13 years you've been involved with this. In 13 years, you probably have a book of a journal of things that you done took notes. But I want to share with you, I want to tell you thank you for the last 2 years. I went to the summit, and I sure I got that correctly.
You did?
I did, good. I was there for the last 2 years, and learned a lot. There was a lot of good speakers, good information to learn. People as a clergy, a pastor, business owner. I mean, it's open for all. But the thing is that we learn so much from other people, and I think in not putting this in a prejudice way, but to see men's come out, even though there's female, but there's a lot of men's, to see them to come into that leadership and taking information and how to go back with it, to me is a great thing. And so, I mean, what is some of your things? I mean, my experience I receive is that learning how to be a leader, pass on the baton, how to work with people. And I might be throwing some other things inside this broadcast here that we, sometimes like a pastor, you give a message. It's never the message that you preach that you think you're going to give out, because y'all also doing things. You in a group that you're working called Hard for E&C. It's helping other people, business and nonprofit things you're doing. And I think that's another leader role that came out that I see happening. But to get back on gear, back on the global leadership, could you kind of explain some of the things you received? 13 years got to be some information you have.
Well, I don't remember it all, but I would say every year this thing is it's kind of a shot in the arm. I think a lot of us find kind of our rhythm of what we need to stay focused and sharp and continue to grow in our own development as we live our lives. And I think for me, the summit has been an annual shot in the arm that encourages me, that gives me fresh insight and into my own life, into the leadership roles I have, and just into what's going on in the world at large. I love that about what they're doing. They bring in some of the most renowned leaders in the world, whether it be from the business, from the ministry, and also from government and other circles. You'll find this year they have, for instance, Bear Grylls, who is the extreme outdoor guy who has a TV show, Running Wild with Bear Grylls, and everybody's intrigued by him. Evidently, he has a strong faith and also a lot to share about what it means to be a leader and the lessons he's learned. So every year there'll be a different group of the faculty. Varies every year. There's some that are consistent that you continue to see over and over who are really high caliber folks, but then also every year there's a whole crop of new people. So each year is different. I have every year you'll get a notebook, and I've got notebooks. I've got a stack of these. Here's my summary of my notes from 2 years ago. All these different speakers. I mean, it's kind of a fire hose of information. Those 2 days you get so much from these people. So it helps me to write it down, to have a notebook, to go back and think through these things, because really what I want to do is not just have a 2-day experience where I get recharged, but I really want to have some practical tools that I can take forward and apply to my life, apply to my work, apply to my ministry. And I think the Global Leadership Summit, what I love about it is they do that so well. They provide great content, but also throughout the year, they continue to provide tools and resources. They've got a website that is continues to put out, remind you of what you've heard, to continue to provide resources and tools that you might use in your business setting, in a church setting, wherever you may be. It's just encouraging. So I can click on a 3-minute video segment, or I can find a topic where I want to teach my coworkers or the folks I'm with, or maybe my family's going to dig into this together. There's lots of potential in that. So I continue to come back to just the idea that leadership matters. The guy who started, the pastor who started this organization is named Bill Hybels, and he has since moved on. But his mantra is everyone wins when a leader gets better. Mm-hmm. And also he says that leadership is influence, and not so when you think of leadership, it's not I'm a leader, I'm the boss, I'm the president, I'm the pastor. It's just that I'm someone who has influence. I may just have influence over my 2 little kids or over the couple folks I work with at the store, but nevertheless, I have influence. And so I think that builds into me that I don't have to be a leader in title in order to be a leader in affect. I can lead people. I can make a difference in the circle around me. And so when you say this is a leadership conference, it's not just a conference for folks in leadership positions. It's a conference for anyone who has influence, which is all of us. So I've learned that over the years that I don't have to have a title in order to have influence, and that's been a huge impact for me. I love the idea that I can lead people as a partner, as a coworker, even as someone underneath someone else. I can still lead by the example I set, by the way I work, by the way I communicate, and so again, this event is continually it brings resources and ideas to the table. I just was looking at last year's notes as before I came in this morning, and here's a simple statement. This was a lady, Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook. She works at Facebook, was one of the chief operating officer at Facebook, so a very well-known and powerful person. But her talk was about candor. And the quote is, most organizations that fail do so because of things that everyone sees, but nobody's willing to address. How true is that? How often do we not say what needs to be said, and because we struggle to do that, things crumble around us? That's just a little nugget of one of the talks that was given that week. But, that's very practical. I take that back to my work. I take that back to my house. What am I not saying that we need to say? What are we not addressing in our church or in our company that's obvious to a lot of people, but we're afraid to do it? If we have the courage to have the candor to say those things, and she gave some tools, here's how I do it, then we can apply that. So that's just an example of one topic from one talk of 10 that week that I think every time I go, I take away little nuggets and I think, okay, I can't do all this, but maybe I can do that. And if I can do that and I get that much better next year, if my leadership capacity increases by 1% or 2%, then that's a win for me. It's a win for the folks I lead. So,
it's amazing when you said that, because I look at nuggets that we receive from everybody. Like, I could use a good friend of mine, Christian Reverend Bob Udak. He would say, "What the eyes doesn't see, the heart cannot move." And I never looked at that. And there's slogans that I throw in, because these slogans are things that kind of help us build our daily life. I truly believe it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need to stop you for moving to the next level. Yeah. And I always say stay in your lane. I tell people stay in your lane. And those are areas that I've heard them mention in a different kind of way, but it's the same direction to kind of help us through it in the leadership. And I want to ask you the question is, like, why would you? What thought you to bring it to Greenville and to land that here? You've been to something 13 years that you've been yourself, and I believe we're going on our 3rd years.
Right.
What make you bring it to Greenville and the connection with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. My experience going to the summit for the first 10 years of my involvement were through, I worked for an organization called Young Life, and that was part of my what my boss decided we would do is she would help provide that resource. So we got to go to the summit every year for the past 10 years, and I realized that it was such an important thing to me. When I left that role and came here, I took on a role at Practicon of leadership development. I thought, what can we do here to engage our people? So we went that first year to an off-site, and we were able to have a good time, but I can only take a few people from my company. So we thought, gosh, what can we do? Why can't we bring it here? Instead of traveling to Wilmington or Raleigh or wherever else it might be, why can't we bring it here so that more people in our community can have that access to that resource? So we presented that opportunity to Jarvis Church. They were excited about it. Practicon was happy to partner with that, and so that's kind of how it began. We thought, let's bring. There's endless resources out there, but this is one we know, we've experienced, we've seen the benefits of it. If we can bring this here and make it affordable and accessible to Eastern North Carolina, which prior to this it wasn't, so that's why we brought it here.
And I'm going to speak a little bit. I'm glad that you bring it here, but I'm going to speak a little bit about the pastor and the co-pastor, Rhonda, John, and John. John I think he's been here about a little over 2 years or 3 years. I'm not exactly sure on numbers anymore. But I have to say that he really has a heart of seeing the heart of the community, what they do at Jarvis Church, what they do with helping with the law enforcers, helping the community, getting involved, to bring that into the church. And John also looking as a part of, we just had a meeting not too long ago speaking about another part of working with the churches on resources and things like that to continue, because speaking about the leadership global, speaking about that key thing, what we already been doing to bringing people in. So I'm really thanking you, Sid, for bringing that here to our community. And I know that people probably right now say, like, what are you guys talking about? I mean, I hear a lot of yapping. Give me a little taste of what's happening at this time here. We're gonna have this clip being shown. Please take a look at this clip here, and we come right back to the broadcast.
So why am I here? Why are you here? It's because we know and believe that we can make a difference.
We are in desperate need of culturally intelligent leaders who are not fearful of difference, but who will lean into it and say, help me understand what's going on here.
You have difficult conversations. They are simply part of being human, and how you handle those conversations defines your leadership.
How we use our power is the measure of our leadership. Great leaders use power to empower other people.
It's our job as leaders to keep pace with everything else that's changing around us. You've got to dream, and you've got to trust, and you've got to build these foundations of empowerment.
When we become successful in organizations, sometimes comfort becomes more important than improvement.
You see, if you're still excited about what you did 5 years ago, you're not growing.
What if mistakes themselves could actually land you in a better spot than if you had never made the mistake in the first place?
Challenges are part of a purposeful journey.
There's no such thing as winning life. Infinite games are a part of our existence. The only true competitor in an infinite game is yourself.
Nobody can be you the way that you can be you. Your authenticity is your distinct competitive advantage.
Legacy, my darling leaders, is a story about you that is yet to be written, but for which you hold the pen.
If you want to be a success, identify a human need and reach out to solve it.
You need to think beyond your means. Dream something so amazing and so ridiculous that it gets you out of your comfort zone and it scares you to death.
Your faith is not a way out of your courage. Your faith is the strength and the fuel to step into your pain and into your fear and into your failures. You are a leader. Go do what leaders do. With God's help and by God's help, leaders change the world.
Well, I tell you, I don't know about y'all, but I was throwing back because it brought me right back into the program and what they're doing. Sid, I'm throwing it back towards you.
Yeah, seeing those clips and just being reminded of the variety of speakers and the breadth of what they cover excites me. It reminds me that, one of the things I failed to mention before was that I love about the summit is that it certainly is practical. It gives you some tips and some tools and some encouragement in your personal life. But one of the things it does that's unique to it is that it broadens your perspective. Mm-hmm. I think it helps you see that, gosh, there's a whole lot more going on out there in this world that I'm worried about today. So many of us live our lives, we're taking care of our work, our family, our church, or whatever, and it's important and it's consuming, but rarely do we have the opportunity to look up and really look out at what's going on in the world. And the Summit does a great job of presenting some causes, some incredible people that are doing powerful work all over the world, and certainly locally in our country, but then beyond that too. And I love that. I've heard several stories of people who've come to the summit and just God got a hold of their heart in a way that changed them forever because they saw this little clip of this little thing going on in wherever, and all of a sudden their lives shift And if we don't put ourselves in places where we're going to be exposed to things like that, then I think we limit our experience with God. We limit our experience of a fuller life. And I was reminded that that's one of my favorite parts of this. Every year I'm surprised by, oh, wow. Whether it's look at how this business in Topeka, Kansas is doing something, or look at what this ministry in Zimbabwe is doing. It can be either, but so often it just expands your horizon. So I really appreciate that. That's encouraging to me.
Yeah, and I tell you, with the speakers that you got, there's new speakers almost every year, as you mentioned, and sometimes the same. Could you share us just a little bit some of the speakers who will be coming, and which is August the 8th and 9th, and we didn't give them the date.
Right, we need to give them the date.
August 8th and 9th, we will be at, August 8th and 9th, be at Jarvis Church, and the telephone number there is 252 area code 752-3101. That's 752-3101. Jarvis Church, August 8th and 9th. You must register in advance. Please, please, please register in advance. You could go to the website, Jarvis. Go jarvis.church/summit, SUMMITT. SUMMIT, I'm sorry. But make sure we register because you need to register to know how many people are going to be there. And it's August 8th and 9th. At this time here, I'm going to kind of get back into the question that I asked, like, who are some of the people for, this is year 2019. Woo, 2020 is around the corner. So who is here with us this year, Sid?
Right. It looks like they have 14 different presenters that will be a part of the faculty this year. And they range from pastors. There's a man named Craig Groeschel who started Life Church. You might have a Bible app on your phone. His church started the Bible app. They have multi-site churches all over. He's an incredible leader. He has a really inspiring leadership podcast that I listen to all the time. He's kind of the keynote for the event. He'll be the one that hosts the event, and then a variety of people. Like I mentioned before, Bear Grylls will be there. He's a TV host. They'll have business leaders, government leaders. One of my favorites is a Danielle Strickland, who works for Salvation Army. She's a justice advocate who works on all kinds of causes around the country and does a great, is just a great presenter. A man named Patrick Lencioni will be there. He's written a number of books in the business world. He's great about leadership development and managing people. He's just got a powerful, he's fun to listen to and always engaging and always brings fresh content to the table. Asia Brown, who is the mayor of the city of Compton, so she'll be really interested to hear from just a variety of people. One more that stands out to me is Chris Voss, who is a former FBI hostage negotiator. Just an interesting mix of people from the business world, from the ministry world, and certainly from the entertainment and other worlds too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they bring. You never know who it's going to be or what exactly their angle will be, but it's all focused around leadership. But again, it's all real actionable and practical to wherever you are in life.
And to hear all these folks are coming, I guess a question that I want to ask, why should people come?
Well, I would say that you come because you want to get better, because you want to grow, because you want to expand your perspective and your horizons. That's for me. I want to get better at being, I'm a director of a nonprofit. I want to lead my nonprofit better. I want to be more impactful to my family. I want to be more faithful to God. I want to know what's going on out there in the world and that I might be involved in it in a way that would impact the world, but also fill my life too. So I think there's just a lot of potential. It's an event. It's a conference, but I do believe that they come back. Well, they bring great content, but also on the back end, they provide practical ways for you to apply these things to your workplace, to your life. And so I love that it's a tool that I'm going to continue to stick in my belt every year because I want to be better. So that's my hope. I think you come because you want to be better.
And I'm going to recap of some of what you said on where I feel my reason is coming, that I want to better myself. I want to be a better leader in what I'm leading, to know how to pass on the baton. Those are some areas that I haven't been great at, and it's teaching me. I have certain people that's, I'm going to just throw their name like Pastor Eve Rogers and Pastor Hugh Dag and others, Pastor Black. Some things they tell me, slow down, do this, move aside. We can do this. I even myself need to be developing, and that's why I go to this and learn to let go, learn what leadership is really about. And I do want to throw this out here is that, there's men and women who may be incarcerated and they're broken down and from society and not looking at, whatever circumstance you was in, you can make a change. I love where there's folks like Joyce Jones and Robert Lee. And Joyce Jones been in it for a very long time, and Dennis Gaddy and our Second Chances and helping us develop ourselves. I mean, leadership is first have to develop yourself in order to lead somebody else. If you're not developed to where you need to be at, it's hard to lead anyone. There's a lot of organization, a lot of businesses maybe still running, and they just getting by. And they don't know what leadership is. They want to know why we're doing the same thing, same results, why things not getting better, because it's the leadership. Everything starts on the very top. And as a man being the head of his home, it's the same thing of leadership and how they have that leadership role. So my reason is going to learn to be a better person than who I am, and in the ministry that the Lord allowed me to be a part of, and because we only a part of for a very short time, is being passed on. That means that everything's set up, and anybody leadership is learn how to walk away when everything's already set up for somebody to take over it. Because if you set it up and finish it, it can't be of God. But it'll also show us setting it up and passing on. So I'm really excited of being there again on August the 8th and 9th for this summons to talk to listen to all the information, because we can never get enough. I want to thank the Hard for E and C, that things they're doing and helping nonprofits learning on statistic planning, and all this is a part that we can say that, hey, well, that didn't come out. It did, because your heart, knowing that what we have a need for in our community, and say, well, hey, let's put this here. Let's put this here. I mean, you brought that to our community where John opened his heart and saying, well, yeah, we can do that. I mean, he really get involved like you. It feel good when people get involved and not sitting behind the desk and talking about it, getting involved with it. To me, it makes my role easy, and that's leadership, and that's how we all work together.
Absolutely. So, again, I think you're right on, Rodney, that it's a community effort, and that's a powerful thing. I think the more we can bring like-minded folks together for the common good, the better. This is a faith-based event, but really it's for the business world. They know that this is the majority of the people they bring are not faith leaders; they're business leaders, and so it's a great piece for the community. Whether you're in government service and leading a private business, or working in ministry or nonprofits like I am, I think that it's practical for all of us. And I think if we can continue to lift up that idea that there's more out there, and the more we're able to engage in our world in a more tangible ways, then the better our lives are going to be, and our communities are going to be changed. So I hope that this is just a little tool, but that this tool will be something that enables people to take a step forward in how they lead and how they live. And as that happens, hopefully what happens is our community begins to change. So I'm excited about it.
Well, Sid, we truly want to thank you for being on this broadcast. As I'm closing out, I want to say, join on, come out, August 8th, August 9th. Take a personal day, take a sick day, just take a day off, take a vacation day. It's going to worth the while. Knowledge is power, not money. It's knowledge. Money in the hand of a fool will depart. Money bow to knowledge, and knowledge does not bow to money. So when we're coming out on August 8th and 9th, come out to the leadership, sign up. Bring somebody else along with you. Come. We'd love to see you there on August 8th and August 9th at Jarvis Church. Please, we are looking for y'all to come and understand what is really leadership. On August 8th and August 9th, you can call 252-752-3101 at Jarvis Church. They can connect you to get on the website. We look forward to seeing you out there. Thank you again for listening to the broadcast. God bless.